The popularity of Wrath Classic is undeniable. Both the original Wrath and now the remastered Wrath Classic have been absolute hits with the World of Warcraft community in their respective times. But now that we're at what most people call the pinnacle of Warcraft, what will come after? Hello everyone, it's Ego, and today I want to talk about the possible futures after Wrath Classic has come to its end. So if you want to find out what may be in store for WoW Classic, stick around to the end of the video, leave a like and sub to the channel. Now, just a disclaimer, this is all speculation currently, but in my eyes, these are the most likely scenarios that I see coming to light at the conclusion of Wrath Classic. There's been lots of talk about what will come after Wrath of the Lich King Classic, so let's get right into it, and be sure to let me know in the comments what you think is coming up next. The most obvious next step for Blizzard after Wrath Classic would be to continue with a relaunch of Cataclysm, the famous or infamous expansion depending on how you feel that graced us back in 2010. This expansion came with a lot of changes to the game, such as new talent trees, a complete rework of Azeroth, new races, flying across the world, and more. The changes that came with the expansion didn't come without a change in the perception of the game by a majority of its player base. Cataclysm, as I'm sure you're all aware, has been one of Blizzard's worst expansions to ever release as far as statistics are concerned. Their subscriber counts reached an all-time low compared to the high it was at in Wrath of the Lich King. This begs the question if something was fundamentally wrong within the expansion that drove players away. Many people have different theories for what was the driving factor for the lack of interest in the Cataclysm expansion. Whatever that driving factor may be, it was a reality that Blizzard faced at that time. Now that we're seeing the relaunch of Vanilla, the Burning Crusade, and now Wrath of the Lich King, will they be repeating history and relaunching the original Cataclysm that led to what some call the beginning of the end for World of Warcraft? Though this may be a possibility, I see it as unlikely that Blizzard would go forward with releasing the exact same version of the expansion that led to a massive drop in subscribers and what I'd imagine was a massive drop in revenue for the company as a whole. What is a more likely scenario, and what was also perhaps teased by an employee of the WoW Classic team, Chris Zierhut, in an interview with Wowhead about Wrath Classic, the WoW Classic team may do a Classic Cataclysm, but perhaps changing some elements to better suit what Chris called the classic feel. Whether this is removing open world flying, changing the talent trees, that's currently unclear. Though, as I said, I don't see them knowingly repeating history and launching the exact same version of Cataclysm. Another possibility that may come after the planned content for Wrath Classic would be a continuation of Wrath before the events of Cataclysm. Whatever that may look like, whether it's permanent Wrath servers or maybe even something like Seasons of Mastery but for Wrath of the Lich King, there is potential that Blizzard may choose to not continue on the relaunch of older expansions and just finish with Wrath. Which leads me to another possible scenario which I personally hope is the case in the future. The chance of an alternate timeline. That's what I want to personally see most in the future. The idea of a new, fresh, potentially classic style expansion would be a dream come true for most players. It'd be interesting to see what ideas Blizzard would come up with when it comes to alternate timelines, but also, I'm curious how they would really capture the essence of classic WoW visually. If you compare the current retail WoW to Wrath Classic, obviously there is a significant gap in the quality of the artwork presented in the game. This is obviously because as the years have gone by, the technology in the game industry has improved, and so have the artists. So it'd be a feat in itself, in my opinion, for these artists and the development team to take a step back and return to the older art style if they're looking to mimic the feel of WoW Classic. But enough about the art, let's talk about some potential alternate timelines. I've got a couple that I've thought about, but if you have some too, leave them in the comment section down below, I'd love to hear it. An alternate timeline or story that I could see being developed would be a different version of Bolvar 4-Dragon as the Lich King. Towards the end of the expansion, we witnessed the fall of Arthas, the Lich King. But the players are presented with a plot twist in the cinematic when Tyrion comes face to face with Bolvar, the Alliance champion who was thought to be dead after the events of the Wrathgate. Though he may be scarred and his body consumed by the flames of the dragons that purified the plague from the Wrathgate, he did survive. During the cinematic, we see Tyrion placing the helm of domination or damnation, or just the Lich King's helmet, on Bolvar's head, this in turn making him the new Lich King. Now for a little bit of a backstory on this helmet, the helmet was created by the Dreadlords and holds the spirit of Ner'zhul, Elder Shaman, and the chieftain of the Shadow Moon Orc clan. The helmet allowed the wearer to possess the powers of the Lich King. Now considering that Ner'zhul's spirit is contained within the helmet, I would love to see an alternate timeline where Bolvar doesn't end up like the goody-goody that he is today in retail WoW, but instead seeing a version of Bolvar that has been corrupted by the helmet he asked to be placed on his head. Perhaps by destroying Arthas and relinquishing the helmet to Bolvar, the heroes of Azeroth realized that they created an even bigger monster. The second alternate timeline that I wouldn't mind seeing is something to do with the Scarlet Crusade. So let me explain. The Scarlet Crusade are fanatics obsessed with eradicating the undead, but due to internal corruption, they've become essentially hostile to everyone, seeing all but those in their order as unpure and corrupted. At least that's what I remember from reading their lore, but regardless, as the Lich King falls, the helmet needs to be worn because if there is no Lich King, then the Scourge will rain havoc on the world of Azeroth. Now I'm wondering if Bolvar was unable to control the Scourge, they could create an expansion or timeline revolving around the rise of the Scarlet Crusade. Essentially, because Bolvar for whatever reason can't control the undead, the Scarlet Crusade starts to grow in numbers as more people join their cause. They would join the crusade for a few reasons. Firstly, of course, because the undead are invading their lands and the Scarlet Crusade is a clear opposition to the forces of the undead. Secondly, it's possible that the people of Azeroth have lost faith in the Argent Crusade, that they can actually deal with this issue. They may see the sudden surge of Scourge ferocity as a failure on the Argent Crusade's part in regards to protecting the people of Azeroth from the Scourge. Because of this failure, it may lead people to reach out and find new options to safeguard their futures. This particular timeline idea is far-fetched, but honestly, I'd love to see almost anything come as an alternate timeline. Overall, there's many different possibilities for what will be coming after Wrath of the Lich King Classic comes to its unfortunate conclusion. So whether they decide to re-release Cataclysm as it was, or release a revamped version, or even explore different timelines, I have a good feeling that Blizzard will be listening to its player base. I have faith and hope that we will be seeing great things in the future for the WoW Classic scene. Let me know what you think is coming for the future. I'd love to hear it. That will be it for the video, everyone. If you made it to the end of the video, as always, you're an absolute legend. I really appreciate it. This has been a fun video to make because it really gets you thinking about what Blizzard will do next after Wrath Classic is finally over. If you liked the video, be sure to leave a like and sub to the channel, hit that bell to make sure you never miss a new video. As always, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.